Welcome back to the Naval News. There's a really large event going on in the Mediterranean and Atlantic right now that we're going to talk about today. But first, I want to say thank you to Established Titles for sponsoring this video. And really thank you to all the viewers out there who are actually responding to this sponsorship. Because of you guys, we're extending our sponsorships into December now. So thank you very much for all of you that went out there and bought souvenir certificates to put, Lord and Lady on your airplane tickets. That's fantastic. And I'm glad you guys appreciate the sponsors that support this channel. But let's get to the important stuff. Let's get to what's going on with NATO. NATO's doing a show of force right now. This is not an exercise in terms of training or, an operation that has a name yet. But there are count them, five aircraft carriers operating together in what NATO is calling the Euro-Atlantic operation, demonstrating a very large show of force between theaters, coordinating aircraft and fleets amongst five aircraft carriers. One of them is the Charles de Gaulle that you see right here. This is the George H.W. Bush participating in the Mediterranean side of the affairs. This is the Gerald R. Ford, which is on the, last I heard, the Atlantic side. We'll see if they're still there here in a minute. The Italian aircraft carrier Cavour. And finally, the Royal Navy Queen Elizabeth participating in this really amazing show of force. I haven't seen five aircraft carriers working together, in my lifetime. I don't know of a RIM pact that had five aircraft carriers. Maybe they got close, but this might be the first time something like this has happened since maybe the 1980s, the absolute height of the Cold War. And it's happening right now across the Euro-Atlantic theater, according to NATO. And what I believe they mean by that is the Mediterranean Sea and the Western Atlantic. And so you can see from our latest USNI map here, that's the United States Naval Institute. Credit to them for this graphic, by the way. Fantastic stuff. We have these aircraft carriers working together with their fleets and, more importantly, all of their sailors. This is tens of thousands of people coordinating and operating together across domains in what was two different theaters that NATO is combining now into the Euro-Atlantic theater. Very large show of force. And if more information comes out on this, if they give this exercise a name or what they decide to do with this, we'll definitely follow up. I would love to get some great photographs of five aircraft carriers sailing together, but because they're so dispersed across two different bodies of water, we're probably not going to get that. But this is a great capability. This is what NATO does, is we combine our forces together and operate interoperatingly together with each other. And now a word from our sponsor. Thank you to Established Titles for sponsoring this video. Established Titles is a fun and novel way to preserve natural woodlands of Scotland, as well as support a global reforestation effort. Through Established Titles, you can purchase symbolic souvenir plots of land for yourself or as a great gift. This project is based on historic Scottish tradition where landowners are referred to as lords and ladies. You can officially include the title of lord or lady on credit cards, plane tickets, and dating profiles. And having that title on your dating profile is a great way to break the ice on your first date. Each title pack gives you at least 1 square foot of land with a unique plot number on a private estate in Edelston, Scotland, and an official certificate with a crest. Established Titles works with global charities like One Tree Planted and Trees for the Future to plant a tree with every order. The first 200 people purchasing a title pack with my link will effectively be next to my plot. It's within walking distance. We can start a subbrief kingdom. It makes an amazing last-minute gift.
Apparently, if you
own
in Scotland,
why'd you do that?
Established Titles is running a massive Black Friday sale right now. Plus, if you use my code SUB, you get an additional 10% off. So go to establishedtitles.com/sub and get your gifts now and help support the channel. And welcome back. Well, we fired another commanding officer in the United States Navy. It seems like we're doing these one a week now, trying to keep up with, Apple and Facebook and Twitter firing people. I wonder if they fired more than we've had at this point. But yet another commanding officer has lost her position. This one was due to her. She was, according to the report, on base or coming onto the base, and she had been drinking, operating a vehicle, and was arrested for DUI. Or DWI, technically. And because of that arrest, she has been relieved. Her name is Commander Cassidy Reese. If I'm saying her first name right, it's spelled a little bit different. This happened last Thursday. So another commanding officer lost their position. And it's obviously a little bit embarrassing for her, and it's a career happening. But it's not the end of her career. So although this is probably the most difficult time in her life and she's going through a lot of stress right now, this is not like other CO firings for cause or for poor leadership. This was a poor decision. This is absolutely recoverable. I've seen it in the Navy where even a commanding officer gets fired. Officers have a lot of options. They can go become engineering duty officers and have a very successful career doing that. And since she's a CO that's been relieved for this mistake, she could also become an XO again, prove herself, prove that she's made changes, and become a CO again in the future. So while this certainly is pausing her promotion opportunities for many years, for sure, it's not a career ender like you would expect it to be. Now, she can recover from this because, most importantly, it's not a command sexual harassment leadership issue like we've seen. This is a poor decision, unbecoming an officer big time, but it certainly is recoverable. So wish her the best going forward. Don't know who the new CEO of the Air Test and Evaluation Squadron is going to be. She was at China Lake. That's where they test a lot of new tactics and equipment and stuff like that. As soon as that story breaks, we'll bring that to you as well. Let's go back to NATO. So NATO obviously very busy in the Euro-Atlantic theater like we were talking about, but we also have a standing NATO Maritime Group 1 in the Baltic Sea. And they've been doing their, business there for a while now, sailing up and down, showing the flag, if you will, making sure, keep an eye on like the undersea pipelines, things like that. And Russia decided to send 2 of its combat planes. They won't tell us what the classification was, but 2 combat planes, at high speeds flew through the formation at an altitude of about 300 feet in what I guess was a show of force by Russia, but it was really just an unnecessary demonstration of poor, seamanship or aviation, I guess, since it's an airplane, going through the fleet the way that they could. Obviously, the fleet saw them coming. If it was a wartime scenario, could have easily taken down the planes, but didn't because we're not at war with Russia. And Russia really didn't gain anything by doing it, yet this happened. Of course, all the ships, contacted the airplanes, asked them, what they were doing, what was their intention. The Russian pilots gave no response. They just flew through the formation at 300 feet, high speeds, and went on their way. After that, they didn't come back through that. So just know that these types of activities are continuing. They're completely pointless. They aren't intimidating, and I don't even know if that's what Russia's trying to do here. Maybe Russia's trying to show that, they can fly their planes through our fleets, which is what we would like them to do, so we can shoot them down easier if it ever came to that. So they're a cooperative target. That's what we call those in the United States Navy. Russia's being very cooperative with our ability to remove them from the battlefield. And that was happening in the Baltic Sea this week. Another submarine's been laid down. This is great. USS Arkansas, or Arkansas, SSN 800. I'm going to get some YouTube comments about that. So something that's cool about this is the keel authentication ceremony where they lay the keel and the sponsors of the ship or submarine will write their initials, and then a welder will come up and, weld the initials into the actual keel of the ship or submarine that's being built. And that's what's going on today. But the special guests and the sponsors for the Arkansas were 6 women from the Little Rock Nine. And if those of you that know American history may already know that the Little Rock Nine were 9 kids who were the first black kids to be integrated into an all-white high school in Little Rock, Arkansas. And 6 of those 9 were present at the ceremony and signed their initials into that. So a little piece of American history and, race relations and how, America is becoming more and more integrated. Even today, it's got a long ways to go. But they were the sponsors for the Arkansas SSN 800. So hats off to them and the Navy for choosing them as the sponsors. Well done. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you check out the sponsor. I appreciate all of you that already have done that. I can't thank you enough, and we'll see you next time.